Red Ray Gun Limited presents...
The Benji and Nick Show.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, you beat me to it, you rotter.
Yeah, you see, there's a first time for everything. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good day.
Good evening.
Good night.
Good Christmas.
Good tidings.
Good New Year.
Good toilet roll.
Good Loch Ness.
Yes!
Damn, wow. Curveball.
You're meant to say goodness. And
Goodness,
I say
sorry,
Loch.
yes.
Loch Ness.
Thank you. There we go.
I fooled you. I fooled you by looking like I knew what I was doing. I didn't. I was terrified.
The story of your career, Nick. No.
It's true. It's true. That was the Loch Ness game. It's not a game. And it's not about Loch Ness.
But this is the Benji and Nick Show, your number one show in the whole universe for cult television, vintage television, TV from the past. We love to talk about it. We watch it, and we give you our opinion as to whether it's worth a go.
Yeah.
Well, what are we doing today, Nick?
Yeah. Oh, Doctor Who, Inferno, episode 4, commentary.
How exciting. How exciting.
Yes. Special guest reviewer Shelley Dean will be here. Our dear friend Jamie Anderson may or may not be turning up. No idea.
Yeah, I imagine Jamie will be in some kind of food coma after eating. The man's got an impressive tolerance to eating things, so who knows?
Yeah, he did. Did he tell you about his Christmas Day eating?
He hasn't yet, no.
I can't repeat it here, actually. It's too disgusting.
Just loads
about
of
the
Kit
amount
Kats.
of food he ate and how he felt the next morning.
Oh, I can just... Knowing Jamie, I know exactly what he would have said.
I can't tell you. It would just be horrible. I feel slightly nauseous thinking about it, actually. Yes, he has an amazing capacity, doesn't he?
He's a good man. He's a good man. Impressive character. But, we'll see if he pops in. In a moment, your emails sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. Do get them in. We love to chat. We love to hear what you're doing. Hope you've all had a good Christmas and New Year. And as well as that, Nick, we've also got a Patreon, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. Well, once again, thanks to many of you who've subscribed to Patreon. It's enabling us to create all sorts of brilliant extra content, and it also gives you a discount on merchandise at nicholasbriggs.com if you want to go and have a look there. There are t-shirts and mugs with all sorts of crazy stuff. My favourite being I'm Ian Bannon. I don't think anyone's bought the I'm Ian Bannon t-shirt.
But it's just nice for it to be there, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes me feel good anyway.
That's the beauty in it all.
What's that? Stop, don't move. There's
Stop,
a
don't
t-shirt. Yeah. What else? Anyway, have a look at patreon.com.
Yeah,
look up the Benji and Nick Show if you fancy it. Mustn't go on about it too much because it upsets one person.
It does. Well, so, yeah, I mean, we don't want to be like a broken record. But anyway, now it's time to read your emails sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. Shall I read this first one, or do you want to, Nick?
Yeah, from Laura Valensky.
Why
yes.
not, eh? Okay, hello, Laura. This one here says, or I should say that it was sent on the 30th of the 12th, 2020, in the year of our Lord 0219. Very early in the historical period. How exciting. I wonder how many...
that was sent on the day we're recording this, even though you'll be listening to this
it's very,
on the 10th of January, I
This is very current, isn't it? Like a bun. Get it? Yeah, very niche joke there. This is
no, not at all. I get it.
Says here, Nick, Benji and Shelley, Wonder Twin powers activate. When you announced what Christmas specials you were reviewing, I had honestly never heard of Rudolph's Shiny New Year. And I grew up in the 70s watching Rudolph and the Grinch every year, and a Charlie Brown Christmas. Shelley's a big fan of that, isn't she?
Yeah.
I'd never heard or seen Shiny New Year, so I went off and watched it after your reviews. And I can't say it will be a staple on our Christmas viewing list each year, but it wasn't terrible.
What an excellent review, Laura. It wasn't terrible.
Well, it's better than it was terrible. I absolutely agree on the message of the original Rudolph. Watching it with my kids each year, I just love the Bumble and Yukon Cornelius. He licks his pick to test what he's found. He's, weirdo. He's the prospector looking for gold, but finds a peppermint vein instead. Wow, that message sucks. I prefer the year without Santa Claus, or Santa Claus is coming to town, where the messages are more about overcoming adversity instead. It is much better. It's nicer than Rudolph's scary messages. The new year has.
You're no son of mine. You've got a red nose.
You're horrible. I'm gonna go hang out.
You're different, and that's bad.
Be off
So
with
horrible.
you. Shiny New Year has a better message and concept, I agree. But the message still sucks. When people laugh at you, they can still be your friends. And everyone was definitely laughing at Baby New Year, him and his huge ears. And if there have been thousands of New Years, where are all the islands? Just 12 are still around. It's very odd. Perhaps they're in the islands of useless years where Father Time's like, go live over there with that lot. It's odd. I suspect that different parts of the country showed different shows as I grew up near Philadelphia, PA. Enjoy the New Year celebrations, whatever you do. I am with you all in not really into the parties. I can't say I ever understood the celebration and packing into crowded spaces to drink. Just not my thing, and definitely not now.
No.
Are we all scarred for life now? Oh boy. Be safe, and thanks for the amazing work you do, Laura Valensky. Well, there we go. The thing is, Laura, I love a party. Don't get me wrong. I love parties. I'm a rocker for a party. Nick knows that. He knows I'm always there. Usually the last person standing at these occasions.
Definitely.
But New Year's Eve parties, they don't do it for me. I just find them, it's like a party where you're forced to sit down with somebody stood in front of you saying, have fun, go on, we're going to have fun and you're going to enjoy it. And really you're there like, I don't like this clock ticking that says I have to have fun. I prefer to look up and know that I've missed New Year rather than sit waiting for it and then afterwards finding out a way of getting home. Well, we've done it now. Let's go.
But that's what I'm going to do for my birthday this year, obviously. Have fun! No, I'm not going to do that.
Wear your hat!
The best thing about this email so far, this next one, is the subject, which is gob waffle.
Sounds like if you were to define what we do all the time in this podcast, that would be the dictionary entry, I feel.
Let me get more gob waffle. And of course, it's from Thomas Hodden, sent on the 29th of December in the year 1917, in the middle of the First World War.
Oh dear. I hope you're all right.
Evening all. We are all excited to hear that you will be joining us for the radical reimagining of And Then There Were None.
Oh dear.
You may have read in the press that as director I will be shaking up the formula and reimagining the plot for a new generation. What this actually means is that A-list celebrities and remote Scottish islands are a bit pricey and my budget is not. So, some more economical changes have been made. For example, the many mysterious characters have all been summoned to a motorway services.
Brilliant.
That's good. Yeah.
Hope it's common.
Where they will all be picked off one by one. I dare say that between your good selves, Lord Skeletor, Catwoman, Munra the Ever-Living, Freddy Krueger, Pat Butcher and Kevin the Claustrophobic Dalek, I fully expect the audience to have absolutely no idea who has been murdering people in a variety of mundane, budget-friendly ways.
Right, he slipped on a Snickers wrapper. He's
Unfortunately, by the way, I found out the truth about Snickers and Marathon, that it used to be Snickers, and then in the 70s it was rebranded as Marathon to make it to align it with health conscious ideas, and then later on it was rebranded back to Snickers.
Wow.
To align with the rest of the world, which had never done the Marathon rebranding. The Marathon rebranding was a 1970s British thing.
That's crazy. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I listened to two interesting history podcasts on Radio 4, driving to and back from my mother's. It's a podcast on Radio 4. You can get it on BBC Sounds. It's called You're Dead to Me, and it's about history, and they pick a particular bit of history and talk about it. And this was, of course, the history of chocolate.
Oh, that's a good history to have.
I had no idea I was going to come out with all that nonsense.
Let's just hope they rebrand it back to Marathon. Carry on.
Unfortunately, having had to scale down the budget for our big finale, I can no longer promise Mr. Briggs the high-stakes speedboat chase that he demanded in his terms, and have to ask if Mr. Briggs is more comfortable on a unicycle or roller skates. I have to say neither.
Or both at the same time.
Just a bicycle would do. Yeah. The
Penny
stunt
farthing.
director. No. I don't know how anyone ever rode a penny farthing. I just get a pain. I get a pain in my crotch just thinking of the stretching on that big wheel.
Oh, it's one of those things that when you think of bad ideas, the penny farthing is definitely. If I after I've shuffled the mortal coil and I'm being looking around saying, well, this is a history of life as you know it in the afterlife. Here's a room full of terrible ideas. It will just be full of penny farthings, won't it? Yeah. Heaps and mounds of them. There we go. Enjoy.
But it's all there. But to start with, it's all they could think of because they didn't. When they didn't have the idea of the chain to link the two wheels, the only thing they could think of to get sufficient traction was to have an enormous wheel with a pedal on it.
Idiots.
What can I say? Fools! How dare they not be as scientifically developed as we are? The stunt director is aware that there were some issues with our rehearsals, but is pretty sure that as long as we are really careful not to take the slip road for the motorway by mistake, it shouldn't be too dangerous. This time, I have been trying to clear it with health and safety, but every time I pop by their office, they seem to be on their way out of the door or window in something of a hurry.
Happens, doesn't it? It does happen.
If you have any further suggestions, do not hesitate to offer them. Yours, as always, T.E. Hodden.
Well, there we go. Cobham Services' first massive blockbuster hit.
Now, this is quite sad, this email. Have a read of this.
I'll
I
read
only
it in
dipped into it.
I'll read it in my solemn voice. I
Well,
won't. It says here, very far behind, very in capital letters is the title. This is from Max Brooks, sent on the 27th of the 12th.
Crossed
in
wires.
another one in 1917. What, two people suffering in this horrible war. It will all work out in the end. And then there'll be another one. Hello, Nick and Benji. Very far behind on the podcast and trying to catch up. Oh God, you're so excited about what 2020 is going to hold. It breaks my heart, and that's sad, isn't it? Little did we know.
We had no idea, did we?
The craziness. Anyway, I've just listened to your episode on Star Trek and war. Whilst we're talking about Midway and Pearl Harbor briefly, and some other World War II movies, I wanted to know if you'd ever heard of Tora Tora Tora. I've not seen it, but I've heard of it, and it's always intrigued me. I've not got round to watching it. Oh, it's really
good. Yeah. I have seen it, Max. Crossed wires. Why has he got crossed wires in brackets? Anyway.
Well, maybe it's his username. It's a 1970 dramatisation of the attack on Pearl Harbor, but it was a Japanese-American co-production that covers a story from both sides. It's a fantastic movie. As Nick was talking about the reasons behind war movie popularity during the 60s and 70s, it might be a good one to look into. So that's one of the things I love about the films. It's like when we've talked about The Longest Day before. What's so good about that is that broad spectrum, isn't it, between all of the forces, the Americans, the English, the Germans. It really kind of touches on all of that.
Yeah, and my favourite thing about The Longest Day at the moment, we're talking about it now, is how the Germans, I can't remember the word they used, because the Allies do a fake attack where they send these puppet parachutists down that only about 2 foot high. And the German word for it is something like Dumberpfoffen. It just makes me laugh every time I hear it. And it's clearly not exactly what the English translation on the screen is. You know what I mean?
Wonderfully. And maybe that's exactly how it was. You never know. Could be Dumberhoffen. Hope it is that.
No, it's not. Pumpenpfoffen.
That was Briggsy is there.
Schnoppen.
And we've got to hear as well, P.S. You very, very briefly talk about Angel Delight.
Oh, yeah.
That's Angel Delight.
Jamie brought it up. Do you remember? Not literally. That would be disgusting.
I do love Angel Delight. That's Angel Delight. I loved the stuff, and my mum sent me a couple of packets whilst I was studying abroad. It took over a month to get there, as it was seized by Japanese customs because, well, if you felt an envelope for the powder, that just said it contained something called Angel D. What do you think? Can you imagine these Japanese people, they're trying to work it out, then they sort of try it and think, oh, this is very light and fluffy, isn't it?
Suddenly they're in a commercial for Angel Delight.
Yeah. That's Angel Delight. Completely missing the hard camera there. That's Angel. But I can imagine that would have been one of those occasions of, tell them that the parcel was lost. Redirect all this post to us. NIDA. But yes, well
Well, the
they've obviously-
Japanese customs officials are talking to NIDA.
Yeah,
aren't they?
NIDA's in charge. Well, what else is he going to do?
That's
He
right, yeah.
he got killed, but he lived. And he lived.
So I'm just writing this down.
He lived to tell the tale. Moved to
Yeah.
Japan, where he got a new life as a customs official.
That's
What else is he going to
obviously-
do? He's not going to be a puppy handler, is he?
No, a Dumpfum Popham.
A Dumpfum Popham maker.
I wish I knew what it was, because it's coming across as xenophobia. The way I'm saying it, and that's not right. Yeah, why is it? I don't know. Anyway, I've invited Shelley. I wonder whether she'll
Shelley
turn up.
Dumpfenhofen,
Yeah.
the
Noting
German
down
clog
everything
dancer.
interesting that you've said.
Yes, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I do like the name of that German Weiss beer, which is Heferdunkel. I just like Dunkel. Sounds like a
Dunkel is nice, yeah.
If a
What does
Dunkel.
Dunkel mean?
Dunkel. Dunkel beer is Dunkel or Dunkels is a word used by several of dark German lagers. It's not white beer. That's because Weizen. Hefeweizen.
Weiss beer.
Hefeweizen is the white Weiss beer, and Heferdunkel is the dark version. That's right. Dunkel
okay.
beers range in colour from amber to dark reddish brown. They're characterised by their smooth, malty flavour.
Just getting thirsty.
Yeah, the other good malty drink is Duckstein, which is quite nice as well. There's another one which is this is just the beer podcast, but this is rather fun. There's a particular beer, I can't remember its name. It's made near Mannheim or somewhere, but they called it grave water because apparently
Wow.
it's something to do with the way it's
Sends you
brewed.
to your grave.
It's actually something to do with it's either where it's brewed or where it's bottled. But the pipes go underneath a graveyard, so it has to go through a graveyard to get to the bottling plant.
So it gets
So
all
it's
the
really-
juices from the dead bodies.
It's a really oh no, just adds to the flavour.
Very nice.
This one's a bit sweet.
Well, there are all those rumours, aren't there, that in sort of breweries people chuck dead rats and God knows what into the vats.
Oh, I'm sure that's not true. Like you have to be.
I bet it used to be with Watney's Red Barrel or something,
Oh well, Rodney's Red Barrel was just rat juice, wasn't it? That's why they had to sell Party 7 in a paint tin to stop people smelling it and thinking, oof.
I told you,
don't
didn't I,
think
that when
so.
I went to see my local it's not really a microbrewery, it's a small brewery, but we went on a special visit and we found out that in the sort of vats where it's all fermenting, there's an area of about, I don't know, like a foot tall above it, above the liquid, where if you got your face in there, you would suffocate. You would die instantly because of the gases given off. There's a complete lack of oxygen. If you were there, you would choke and suffocate.
That's
So
ridiculous.
if anyone leans over to look in, they're saying, don't lean over, because you might die. So
God, that's pretty grim, isn't it?
lethal beer. But I think it's the same with all brewing,
Just obviously an element of it that's that's really weird, isn't
Well,
it?
it reminds me, have you ever had ginger beer, which is non-alcoholic
Ooh, yes.
ginger beer? Yeah. And when you freshly just got it out the bottle, if you inhale just as you're sipping it,
I know exactly what you mean.
You choke, don't you? There's the
like-
gas coming off. It kind of catches in your throat.
It's like the carbonisation or something, isn't it? It's something
It's
weird
really
in there.
extreme. Yeah.
I'm sure scientists listening will know
breathe
the
out
answer
through
to
your
this.
nose. Yes. Calling all scientists listening.
Scientist
Email us.
klaxon, please.
Email us at podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. I'm going to have to WhatsApp Shelley. We have invited you.
VF invited you. Willkommen. Would you like
Bienvenue.
a Terry's chocolate orange?
Oh, I didn't get one. Usually my mum buys one every year, but she's unable to go out at the moment. So that's a shame, isn't it? God, I knew there was something missing from my Christmas. That's why I went out and bought a whole box of Lindt chocolates the other day
Ooh,
and virtually
very nice.
ate all of them.
We did a fun thing with the wider
Here comes
family where
Shelley.
we did a sort of you've got a £10 limit and you have to buy something to do with food and stuff like that. And of course I got given loads of pale ale, which was nice. Hello,
nice.
Shelley. Let's do this.
Hello.
Hey there.
How goes it?
It goes.
Well, that's good.
It goes up, it goes down, it goes all around, you know. Because that's how time works.
That is how to get the
Is
shirt.
there a T-shirts with that?
It's funny that, isn't it?
Go to nicholasbriggs.com and have a look. The Benji and Nick Show shop. Little commercial there,
You're
folks.
welcome.
And if you become a patron, you can get a discount on it as well. Just saying.
There you go.
Sorry.
No, just,
I mean, it seems like a
was my
silly
fault.
thing to ignore, really. You know,
Yes.
get on it, I
Yes.
say. Well,
so how are we?
yeah, we live, we
We're good?
breathe, we bequeath.
Yes.
No, we've. How was your Christmas?
Same old, what you'd expect for a Christmas that would happen in the year of 2020.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's,
Fair
that's
You know.
a very logical answer. A very logical
We're
answer.
actually, my family has decided we're going to postpone Thanksgiving and Christmas until we can all get together again. So
So for 5
we'll
years.
be having
Yeah.
a big celebration at some point in the future.
It's the best way to look at it, I think.
Yeah. No, it was a quiet day. Just a, cat. My daughter made dinner and we took it over to my parents' house, and Santa came on the fire truck as he does every year
Fire truck.
before he heads out to
What?
give gifts to all the kids. Yeah, the local fire department has somebody dress up as Santa and hands out candy to all the kids. It's really fun.
A
We do it
lovely
every-
traditional Father Christmas
Yeah.
activity there of,
Yeah.
of heading out.
So
to
how are
put
you?
out
How is your
fires.
guys's? Yous guys's? How
Yous
is it?
guys.
You
Hey,
wise
yous
guys. Yeah, I had a lovely time. It was very nice. A little bit different, but still very pleasant.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, though. I enjoyed it. How about you, Nick?
Yes, sort of low key with my mum. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
I'm not a huge fan of Christmas anyway. So.
Yeah, neither am I. So I was actually very
there we are,
pleased.
I'd say. Yeah. Just the miserable Nick Briggs. Let's have a. We're going to be doing Inferno.
Inferno.
I knew you'd say that.
Oh, I love
Episode
to say
4.
it. Now, you'll have to bear with me because of the terribly complicated way in which BritBox has decided to basically banish and hide all of classic Doctor Who from being easily findable. I'm going to have to go through it and find the episode.
You have to find the season, and yeah, it's season 7, isn't it?
Season 7, episode 22.
Oh, well done.
I have it pulled up.
I'm glad you're here, Shelley. We'd be lost without
Crikey
you.
Moses, I've got it written in front of me and I didn't bother to
Yeah.
read that out.
22
I've had mine on
part
pause
4.
for a long time, so whether it will go into play. What we do, folks, if you've never heard one of our commentaries before, we say 3, 2, 1, and on the 1 you press play. And
Biggly boo.
hopefully we'll all be in synchronisation. If we're not, I'll have edited it and we will be.
And you get to listen to us try to figure out if, in fact, we are synchronized.
Yes, it's
Oh,
very
wait, I'm not at
exciting.
that part yet. What part are you at?
Yeah, has it just said Doctor Who? Is that John Pertwee's nose? Right.
we
Are
do
we
it.
all ready? Are you ready?
I'm
okay.
ready.
I'm ready.
Look, with apologies if it goes wrong for me. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. I'm off.
All right.
Yeah?
John Pertwee's trousers have fallen down.
Are we all right?
Yes, it's all rolling for me.
John Pertwee just appeared
Yeah,
there.
John Pertwee just
There he
appeared
is.
there. And he's about to, he's going,
clear, and
he's
now it's
vanishing.
Dr. Oho, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the logo on its own. It's now spinning, and it's going to say Inferno any moment now.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, yes, it's one of these
Fire,
ones, isn't it? I
lava.
forgot.
Footage.
Bang.
Boom.
Crash, wallop, what a video. There we go.
There.
Inferno.
There it is.
Perfect.
Inferno.
We seem to be doing well. Well.
Yes,
Yes.
so, well, just congratulate ourselves. Look, by Don Houghton just coming into
There we
focus
go.
there.
Wow, I think this is the most synchronized we've ever
I think
been.
it is, yeah. Don't say
Episode
that.
4 coming
I
into
know,
focus.
They
now.
were obviously really into this particular story, weren't they? Because they put in a lot of effort when it came to not just all that, lava stuff, but also the writing coming in blurry.
Yes, that. Oh,
Unfortunately,
Sergeant
they
Benton.
weren't so into it when it came to selecting the wigs.
Come on, her wig is awesome.
Yeah, for quite.
It
Do we
can be
know what
used
those
as
guns-
a bicycle helmet as well.
What, hidden underneath the wig?
Just put a little extra hairspray on it and you're all good.
Well, look, he's going in the pizza oven there. We'll order the pepperoni.
What are those guns? Do we know?
Pizza.
Those particular guns there? Oh, I don't
Yes.
know. It's some form of rifle. It looks almost like it's just a standard telly rifle, isn't it? I suppose.
No, it's not. No, they're different from the normal unit ones. I thought you'd know this stuff, Benji. You're disappointing me.
Well, I'm not a gunman, you see. I love those.
gunman.
Look at those outfits. They look like...
Did you see Terry Walsh was the guard in the corner there?
Terry Walsh there, absolute living legend in the world of Doctor Who.
I've just recently been watching The Monster of Peladon, and Terry Walsh is every single soldier on Peladon. They had his face sort of covered up in a mask, so they keep asking random soldiers who get killed, what do you think? He goes, yeah, that's right. So and you think, yeah, it's Terry Walsh
It's
again.
the same bloke again. He
was John Pertwee's stunt double, Shelley.
Right.
It didn't look anything like him, of course. He was also Tom Baker's stunt double as well.
But, the guy knows how to fall. You can't... He's no fool, but he does know how to fall. I love those outfits
how to fall
there with
too,
those
but I don't
colours.
get paid to do it.
Yeah.
I just trip over things.
It just happens.
I'm a very
like to
clumsy
wind back.
person.
I'd just like to wind back on my own stupidity when I thought that Professor whatever his name is, his beard wasn't fake. And you said, well, hold on, but what about the alternative Earth bit when he doesn't have a beard? He couldn't grow it in a week, could he?
Maybe he could. Maybe he's some form of subhuman craziness.
Super
What's the name of
testosterone
that actor?
man.
I have
What's
no
his
idea,
name?
but he was in a lot of things around this time, wasn't he?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, ever since I've been rewatching this, I've noticed him turning up in so much stuff.
That guy.
That guy.
I'm too
That guy
scared.
there.
I'm too scared to tab out though, because in case I ruin all of time and space and become unsynchronized.
John Levine's loving this being.
I was
a
about to
miserable
say that
so-and-so,
he's absolutely in his element. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna hold a gun. Gonna stand here.
And look real mean. Rawr.
Continuum. You can't say continuum.
Continuum.
John, it's not continuum.
Aluminum.
Yes, it is. I'm Doctor Who.
I'm not in the habit of telling lies.
We should remind ourselves of the photograph on the wall, which is you can only see the shoulder of at the moment.
Pure ingsoc, isn't it? Real.
You know who it is, though, don't you?
Yes, it's the well. I think it was either you shared it with me or
It's
one
Jack
of our
Kine, isn't
one of
it?
our
It was the set
podcasters,
designer
wasn't
or
it?
something?
Yeah.
Or the effects designer.
Somebody, yeah.
And it's based on a joke from Quatermass, not Quatermass, not
1984.
1984, sorry.
Yeah,
sort of
George Orwell.
made by the same team, the BBC version of it.
He's got that little hair at the back, which is slightly out of his smartness.
What hair?
It keeps getting caught on his blazer,
Getting him a
and he's
bit
dressed like
nicotine,
Basil
aren't
Fawlty.
you? Yes, isn't he? Yes, his suit was later recycled for Fawlty Towers.
Excuse me, are you being served? Do you mind moving off into the dining room, please? My wife will deal with your inquiries in a moment.
It's like amphibious landing craft shaped chips.
Manuel!
Look, Terry Walsh in the background looking at the camera like, yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, it's still me, earning me money. This story has a fantastic atmosphere, doesn't it? That's what I like about it. It's got that wonderful kind of... I suppose it's very of this time in Doctor Who, but it feels ever so slightly sinister, doesn't it? All the noises and...
Oh, yeah. The noise just brings so much of the buildup of, oh my gosh, what's happening? And, hearing the sounds in the background is always very disconcerting.
And of course, there isn't a specially composed music score for this. They just use stock tracks.
Which works quite well. It's a funny, a lot of this season has a lot of weird sort of little stocky bits here and there.
And because Douglas Camfield, the director of this, well, most of it, because Barry Letts had to take over because Douglas had a heart problem. But he resented having to pay Dudley Simpson. He thought Dudley Simpson was making too much money.
So he just said, I'll use stock.
Yeah, he quite often opted to either use someone else or use stock music.
Well, the thing is as well is that a lot of these people at the time, you know, they would have had a knowledge of various stock people that they liked and various tunes that they've used before.
Yes.
And so I think it would have been a case, you know, oh yes, I tried this one, you know, I think so and so. It's just
Why
always.
why has he got his glasses on?
Oh, he's just been on holiday.
So he could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so
Why is he
right,
wearing
Shelley.
gloves indoors? I mean, it's just.
Because his
like
hands
a-
are green.
It's
can
like
see
Can't
the-
anyone see?
Airplane where the guy
Yeah. Tom Cruise
Lloyd
takes
Bridges
the glasses off.
in Airplane where he takes the glasses
in
off
Airplane.
and he's got another pair underneath.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, isn't it? So wonderfully stupid.
Take some pictures and then they take all the pictures off the wall. Anyway, sorry.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
You see, there's a bit of stock music. That's Radiophonic Workshop stock music.
Been used so many times, hasn't it?
It was used in the Tomorrow People.
Was it? Sound a little bit like The Mind Robber. I'm sure it was used in The Mind Robber.
There's something similar in the Mind Robber. You might be right there.
Ooh, sinister. Liz, please. John Pertwee there looking like a completely different person.
Which person?
John, well, I don't know. Oh, there's the brig.
Cut himself shaving.
It's rather
Oh,
severe.
he was shaving on a train. He was in the laundry compartment of a train.
With a straight razor.
Slashed himself in the face.
It's so peculiar, isn't it? Because I'm so accustomed to seeing John Pertwee wearing his usual garb. When you just see him in this particular season's outfit, it always throws me off a little bit.
His braces, yeah.
Exactly. Like I've never really thought of him to be a braces kind of guy.
And they look too decorative to actually be useful.
Yes.
Like they're not like tight, you know what I mean? Like they're just,
You call them suspenders, don't you?
yes.
That
Suspenders.
sounds rude, because that's like ladies' stockings for us.
Yeah, that's what John Pertwee's wearing in this scene, haven't you? That's why they've just not calmed down.
Are we not watching the same thing?
Yes, in this
in a
alternative
lovely little
dimension, I wear
negligee.
stockings and suspenders.
Now I want to know, is that way to interrogate somebody, does that actually work? Just repeating the same questions over and over and over, and that's why he's so worn out?
What's going on here? Yeah, well, I wouldn't have thought so.
You just
with the
zone
lights,
out and just think about
The
other
light
things.
in the eyes and, oh, we're going to get you.
I can imagine the light in the eyes is a pretty bad one. Why is this guy dressed so utterly ridiculously?
He
just doesn't look right, does it? Everybody else is in great
No,
military gear.
He's in like this cream cashmere outfit that is just very...
Well, it's just he looks
Well,
like he looks like
to-
Camille Khan from Octopussy.
Well, yeah, they're trying to make them echo the sort of utilitarian design of, what people thought of totalitarian regimes would have, especially communist regimes.
Oh, don't get me wrong, it's a great outfit.
But you're right, it looks like he's gone on holiday.
It just looks a bit wrong, doesn't it? He looks like he should be lounging in that.
I burned my hand and it went a bit green. There's nothing wrong here.
Have you been to A&E? Accident and emergency.
Aliens and electro
Eggs.
scum.
Electra scum.
Take him away. That's beautifully dismissive.
What's that on the wall there behind the brig?
Yeah.
By his hat, there's some kind of something's. What is that? Like something on the set has like been
A
knocked
hook
or something.
Oh, or just a dent.
Or just a Arthur.
That's where the wall ends in the background there. There's no ceiling. Oh no, it's just the door frame.
It
It's
is.
like a shower.
It is funny though, isn't it? That this particular season just feels so 60s, and it feels like old Doctor Who. Whereas, the following season it feels very much like 70s Doctor Who. It's a really
Well, this
strange.
was made in 1969. That's why.
Of course, yeah. No, you are right. You are
They
right.
showed it in 1970, of course.
But it is the swinging 60s, isn't it? I've been eating this chocolate, and I bit into something, and I think it's a nut. Why are you telling me this? He gets on my wick. You just tell him to go away. Just complaining
like
to
him.
everybody. I like
He's
him.
right, though.
Harold Robbins. Of course, they've got a cell with bars like some Western jail.
Was his tie, his bow tie, whatever we're going to call that, tied that
Cravat.
nicely while he was being interrogated?
No, the costume department have had a go at it.
Yeah.
Mind you, they would have filmed this almost continuously in this season.
Yeah.
His hair's a mess, so maybe,
You don't often see people completely covered in a blanket head to toe unless they're dead.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a worry. They've had to cover him
Right.
because, of course, he's a primord.
Right.
Now, we're just going to have the same arrangement here. More people will come into the scene and speak to him. It's not over yet, but we just thought we'd take you to a different set for variety.
just to
And
make
fix
it
your
look as
tie.
though he's loving holding that gun, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like a,
There's no subtext with him, is there? When he says get on your feet, he means get on your
He
feet. He
means
doesn't mean I like you and would maybe like to have a drink with you. He means get on your feet.
in which you must get on your feet, otherwise you will be shot and miss out on the drink, which you're not going to have because he's not having a drink with you.
Shelley, do you think there's a bit of padding going on here? This is the same scene again, basically, isn't it?
Oh yeah, they're just standing up and they have bars between them now. That's the only, and his tie is nicer and he has a jacket on.
And I think as well, John's nice and skinny here. You could probably squeeze out those bars quite easily. They're
That's
very
true.
big, aren't they?
Well, also, they look like they're made out of rubber.
Well, they already look a bit bent.
Spoiler.
I
thing is,
know.
He could, bear in mind he knows Japanese, Venusian Aikido. He could
Yeah.
quite easily,
Japanese.
he could just wallop her through the bar,
Yeah,
grab
you
the
just touch
keys
it with
and
like
escape.
his middle finger and bonk, and it shatters or something.
When you said he knows Japanese, I thought you were suggesting that he was going to confuse everyone by speaking Japanese and then somehow get out.
Quickly, confuse everybody.
Don't lean
Starts
on
going
that,
on
no
about.
break.
Starts going on about Angel Delight.
As if talking about a parallel world isn't confusing enough. We're going to
Yes.
throw in some Japanese.
Yeah, why? Well, why not? Why
I'm
not?
now going to talk about a parallel world in Japanese. He can be
In
like
Japanese.
he can be
Well,
like
maybe they'll serve him some sushi.
he can be like the Stanley Unwin, can't he? His main superpower can be just talking nonsense.
Just getting
You know,
on
from-
everybody's wick.
Do you remember that, Shelley, when we talked about Secret
Yes.
Service? Yes.
In that
Funny
weird
enough,
language.
Unwinese, yes.
I was watching The Best of The Tube, which is a music program from Channel 4 back in the 80s. And he featured in that. There was a segment
Stanley
with him.
Unwin.
Yeah, talking normal rubbish and
Well,
everybody
he's a
loving
British icon, you see. I mean, and you can just hear the sound of air passing over Shelley's head. You just think, well, why? Why did the British become so obsessed with a man who just talked rubbish?
Oh no.
Better shave that hand.
it. Looks a bit like a
His wrist
coconut,
wig
doesn't it? You know,
on.
the hair on top of a coconut.
Yeah.
So they must have done an edit here. There's no way they could have rearranged her hair.
No chance. And clothes.
Plop it
And
off,
stick a
just-
moustache on the Brigadier and get him changed.
Although I'd love it if they did have to do it. Nick Courtney's moustache is on his forehead and the scars across his chin or something.
But I must say, you've missed my face, but never mind.
Don't worry, Joe Public will never notice. and Carrie's wig is on back to front or something, so she's got a huge fringe down to her nose. It's amusing
look.
me.
It's old Lenin.
Or as we call them, bangs.
Bangs? What's bangs?
Yeah.
A fringe.
A fringe is bangs
Bangs, yeah.
in America.
What? How can
Yeah, I
it
don't
be
know why
bangs?
it is,
It's
it
just
just
one
is.
thing. How can it be a plural?
You might have one more.
We also have ruined the word mathematics. You call it maths.
No, yes.
We call it math.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say maths.
Yeah, why don't you do
Maths.
do some math? Do
Oh,
math.
I've got maths homework. It just sounds weird. So weird.
I suppose it does, doesn't it? Yeah. I think more and more kids are saying math now anyway here.
Yeah.
So I'm blatantly eating orange peel.
Ugh.
He's mad. He's absolutely mad. The only peel I'm going to have is
Emma peel.
Terry's chocolate orange. But I won't be eating that peel because it's quite clearly, if you can see, it's
tinfoil, and that would hurt
tinfoil.
immensely.
Ouch!
That would not be pleasant to swallow. Oh, Christopher Benjamin looks very excited there.
This conversation is like a sort of intergovernmental department meeting, isn't it?
Yes, and coffee will be served afterwards in the lounge.
Now listen here, this was a 4-part story that had to be stretched to 7 episodes.
I mean, this is a dreadful example of padding, this whole episode. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing to hold the imagination of anybody. It's just people bickering all the time.
But they bicker so well. I mean, if I weren't having some responsibility to talk all over this, I would be absolutely riveted to it.
But you like a good talky program, don't you? At times, Nick, you've been known to get into it.
Yes, that's true.
Well, then you would love Aaron Sorkin shows, like The West Wing.
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets is that I've never watched all of that. I watched one episode of it and thought it was fantastic, but never found the time to watch all the means to watch any more.
He's a very prolific talky writer. Everything he writes is just like pages and pages and pages of monologues, and
sounds very boring.
It's actually not, because
I'm sure it's
the
very
way he
good.
writes is just, it's so thought-provoking and so brilliant. It's amazing.
Some
And
people
also
have got
good
a knack,
casting
haven't
as
they?
well. Good casting too.
Yes.
This is such a disappointing effect, isn't it? And there's an obvious edit in the middle of it.
It's Wizard of Oz. We're now in Munchkinland.
I'd like to think it's a toilet roll covered in tin
Glitter.
foil. And someone's just whizzing it around on the end of a pole.
So the sound effect is pretty dreadful as well, is it?
Yeah.
I say, my
dear.
man, are you all right?
Farting.
It's all right. I'll just nip through the bars. Just check
He's-
on you.
There's someone here farting.
Yes.
He had
He's had a
beans
curry.
for dinner.
Oh,
look,
shut
it's
you
the
up.
stereotypical guard who's definitely
He's
got
a member of
limited.
Havoc.
He's got a
He didn't
limited
even
shelf
unlock
life.
it, by the way. He just pushed the door open.
Yes, that's terrible, isn't it?
So
Terrible.
I don't know how safe these jails are.
Look at the Primord's outfit. You can see quite clearly he was a chef before.
That was a pretty impressive stunt that they just did with him,
was
the
good.
way he lifted him.
Here we go. Here he's going for the
spun
bars.
him.
Look, he'd really loving this actor. Look, here we go.
yeah.
I see.
They almost bent before he put any
Yeah.
power into them. Hike!
Hike.
And then he just lets himself out.
No, he got through the bars, you see.
Of course, yeah, that would make sense.
He's one of Douglas Camfield's favourite actors. It turns up in everything that Douglas Camfield directs.
The
He was in
Primord?
yeah. He was in The Invasion as well. I say, look, this is... Well, yeah, poetry was, you know...
I
he
love
was
the
he
music
was
here. It's quite
50.
modern. Sort of.
Is it? Well, again, it's a stock track. It's just weird, bumpy noises.
I like it.
It's someone accidentally trying to flush a tin can down the loo.
It's my favourite sound.
Recorded
And that
with
was
a
me
limpet
that
mic.
flushed the can down the loo.
Excellent.
I say I can get this buzz out of here.
How come that? Who was that
And
guy?
see,
you
now
got?
his tie is different.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's a thinner version.
When he was in the jail, the thing was like the size of his head, and now it's like a thin... That's annoying.
This guy in the Land Rover, he's come on from a different series. He's not wearing a military uniform or anything. He's just wearing a Parker anorak, isn't he?
He's just walked in from somewhere else.
He's taking John Pertwee to another programme, so we'll never see him again. He's gone. He's turned up in some other BBC One programme from 1970.
We're off to tomorrow's world. Buckle up.
Yes.
Oh no, not the computer.
No.
I say, what's this?
That's handy. We both gasped. We're just watching it now. We realise
he's
this is
in
not
his
a
whites.
commentary. Do some commentating, Shelley.
Love the way that
Complaining about his tie. That's my commentating.
if you were driving behind that Land Rover, you would have had the opportunity to see John Pertwee in his pants getting changed. Don't look, please.
Putting his beach towel around him.
That. He doesn't even know where he's going.
So what's he trying to achieve now?
It's supposed to be in
Blending
charge.
in. He's just trying
To
blend.
achieve what, though?
To sneak in, I suppose, and be undetected.
But why? Oh,
That guy was just laying in the back of that truck. He wasn't even like, it was like a small truck and he was laying down.
Well, that was John Pertwee.
And John's very
Right.
tall as well. He's a tall man.
But they
isn't
just
he?
let him out like it was normal that there was a guy in the back of that truck laying down.
Oh, that's
That
Bob.
was my
Bob,
point.
he
I
always
see what you
sleeps
mean,
on the
yeah.
job. Sleepy Bob.
It's old John Pertwee, the skiver, they say.
Yeah, skiving again.
There's
He,
Terry
he
Walsh at
thought
the
he'd
end
get
there.
out of this production.
Oh.
That voice, by the way, is the voice of the actor who was the Primord who just died in the...
In the jail?
yeah. That's
Getting
him.
their money's worth,
Well,
aren't
so
they?
he got up and ran over and
Yeah,
he's now
into the
doing...
mic. You can just hear the sound of his hair brushing the microphone.
Yeah, and he's not snorting and farting anymore. It's very impressive.
This is like Doctor Who, the stage adaptation, where everybody's
Yeah.
doing everything, running off and
Well,
getting
that's what we're saying,
changed.
like quick changes, and that was.
I'm
I've
just
worked
going to
in
go over
theater,
here.
and
No,
I've had to help actors change real quick between
Yeah.
scenes, and wow, that's fun.
no
I
one
had
will
an
notice
actress
me.
once who shall be renamed unnamed because she's famous, and she was nasty to me the entire run of the show. And this one particular quick change she had, she pushed me away and said, "I don't need your help anymore," and proceeded to go out on stage without her skirt being zippered,
Oh, well, justice.
and then blamed me.
Of course.
Biatch.
That's what happened to John Pertwee in this episode.
Yeah.
Exist.
Exist. Oh, no, we've got to zoom in and cut and zoom.
Oh, in and out. Ah. That's the sound of the
This is
planet
fantastic,
screaming out
though.
its rage.
Ah, quick. Oh, no, Doctor, you're
Oh,
surrounded by
it's not
nasty
like they've
people.
got his technique of stopping anybody with guns is just to push the guns slightly away.
And no one's pointing the gun at
See,
him.
it's a good ending.
It's got a good Luger
One.
there, hasn't he?
Yeah, there we go.
What
Well,
happened
that
next?
was Inferno. I have to say, probably the worst episode in Inferno, isn't it, really?
Treading water a bit. I still loved it, I have to say.
I mean, it's just good fun, isn't it? It's good,
Yeah.
clean, Doctor Who-y fun.
Well, the
So
Primord
Keith
in the
Gold.
jail is my favorite, so
Yeah, smelly Primord.
he's awesome.
Well, there we
We
go,
don't wanna
Inferno. Let us know what you think of this episode and if you enjoyed it. So I promise you we will get to the end of this at some point. But who knows?
2025.
In the near future.
Well, I think it would be dull of us to do the next episode next time. I think we should vary it a bit. I'd like to suggest we do what we've been watching.
Okay, that works. I've actually got plenty of things to talk about.
Can we
have a
name them?
list.
Oh,
I wrote a list down because I had a feeling.
I had a feeling.
well, name a few. Then.
Okay,
Colin
my number
Smith can
one.
yes, do a good cover.
Space Force on
all
Netflix.
right, yes, okay, yeah. I watched
Steve
an episode
Carell.
of that, and that was
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Just to start the idea of what Space Force is it's a real thing. For those of you not in the know,
yeah, we know.
the President of the United States created Space Force because we need to fight for some reason in space. And I've completely decided that he was told about the aliens and that's why he created Space Force. That 100%.
Which we've discussed before, haven't we?
You're entitled to make any decisions you like.
Right. Anyhow, so yeah, Space Force is a show on Netflix starring Steve Carell and Lisa Kudrow, amongst a million other people, and it's fantastic. It's hilarious. It's just amazing. So that's something that I went through rather quickly. Got through.
I think I might have watched
day.
more than one episode because you can watch it. You can
Yeah,
consume it
it's-
quickly, can't you? Yeah,
Yes.
it zips along. But
Yeah. And then the other one is a little bit heavier and a little bit longer to watch because it's kind of hard to absorb in one day. Is Queen's Gambit.
Oh,
Also
yeah,
on
now you're
Netflix.
talking. Now
Okay.
you're talking.
Also on Netflix. Yeah.
Benji, what are you gonna
I've
talk
actually
about?
I've watched a lot of things actually. Last night I watched the first episode of The Expanse,
Right, it's great. I've watched the first two
season
series
one or
of it.
the
Season one.
newest season?
I'm
okay.
new to this.
It's amazing.
The chap who plays guitar in my band, Tony, recommended it to me. He said, "You must watch The Expanse." And so
Trouble is, it disappeared. It disappeared off Netflix, so I lost track of it.
it's on Amazon now, isn't it?
It's Amazon, yeah.
Yeah, they did the first two series on Netflix, which was great.
I binged that. I binged the new series of, well, not new series. There's the Ripper documentary series on Netflix, which was brilliant.
That's on my list to watch. Yeah.
Really dark, but really fantastic. I watched some more Special Branch, and I've also been
I'm
watching
writing all this down.
and also watched a lot of Schitt's Creek as well.
Oh gosh, love. I have not watched the very last episode because I don't like endings.
It's
not ready.
Who does?
I'm not ready. I can't. I just can't. So I think I'm going to rewatch the whole thing before I watch the final episode.
Don't forget, we're queuing this up for a discussion next week rather than having the discussion now.
It's very true. Yeah, we'll keep that under.
Yes.
I'll have those as my ones. That'll do me.
Yeah.
That's plenty, isn't it? I'm watching a terrible thing on Netflix called Salvation, which I'm slightly addicted to, but it is terrible.
Is it as bad as
It's about the Salvation Army.
Virgin River?
No, it's bad in a different way. It's about an asteroid coming to wipe out all life on Earth. Yeah.
What's it called?
Salvation.
Salvation.
It was produced by Alex Kurtzman, who's gone on to do all the new Star Trek stuff, I believe. Is it Alex Kurtzman? Yeah. Anyway, what else? And just recently, I've watched two versions of Evil.
Of the Daleks.
And
He keeps it for himself.
wouldn't that be nice? Evil Under the Sun, a Poirot thing. I watched the Peter Ustinov movie, and then I thought, well, I wonder what the David Suchet one was like. They are totally different, and it's an adaptation of the same book. I don't know which is the. I'm guessing the Suchet one is. It's adapted by Anthony Horowitz, and I think I'm guessing that's more faithful to the book. But who knows? Perhaps someone could write in and let us know. So there we are. That's. I mean, I've watched loads of Doctor Who. I've been watching Monster of Peladon and the Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I just love all that nonsense.
I watched on Christmas Day. I watched the first episode of The Romans, which was quite fun.
Oh yeah, well, The Romans, a Doctor Who story, Shelley, William Hartnell one. It's quite amazing because William Hartnell likes historical stories and therefore knows most of his lines, which is quite an event. You suddenly realise how good William Hartnell could have been.
He's not.
Yeah, he's really on it. He even does
He was loving it.
He does a fight sequence in episode 3, which he does pretty darn well.
Yeah, you can
the
tell
Romans. That's what
he
it's
likes
called.
it. You can tell he's interested in Roman history as well.
Yeah,
to an
I mean,
extent.
it is, of course, very old-fashioned and crummy and cardboard sets and what have you. But it's people always talk about it being a comedy, but actually, it's really quite disturbing in places because, of course, Roman society was disturbing and ruthless and horrible, and they don't shy away from any of that.
There was a bloke who died a pretty grisly stabbing death in the first episode, wasn't it? In the tree. I thought, blimey, that's a bit close to the mark, isn't it?
Well, death was very much. People weren't so timid about death in those days. There's a lot of death in old Doctor Who, whereas they're quite careful about how they portray death now in Doctor Who and on television generally, unless it's a very, very adult thing. And in Doctor Who in those days, people were being zapped, stabbed, shot in the face, kicked, thrown over cliffs. You name it. They were. Terry
Even
Nation,
in the 80s, scissors into the chest. That's pretty grim.
Terry Nation always used to like to start a story with someone throwing themselves off a cliff or in a river or something. So, it's. Or falling into a river. When you think about it, the Dalek invasion of Earth starts with a Roboman throwing himself in the river. The android invasion starts with an android, which you don't know is an android, you think is a human being, throwing himself off a cliff. And Death to the Daleks starts with a man getting an arrow stuck in him and falling off a cliff into some water. So, I mean, it was really Terry Nation's
and
greatest
all played by the
hits.
same actor.
Wouldn't it be fantastic?
Same stuntman.
John.
And just before he falls off the last time, he turns to the camera and goes, "What? Are you serious
Every
again?"
time.
Every time. Oh, as he steps on a rake and it smacks him in the face. Yeah. Yes.
That was a very good reg sound, that. Yeah, better than mine.
I've been practicing for years. If I'm sitting at a dinner table on my own and there's a knife in front of me, I have to put it on the edge of the table and go.
You've done that when I've been eating with you before. I think you've actually done the very thing.
I have to do it because I was always told not to do it as a child, but now my parents can't tell me not to do it. I always do it.
It's like rulers. You always want to do that. You know, the thing you do on the table. It's great fun.
My whole life is about doing all the things that my parents told me not to do. You know, like changing the television channel a lot. My mum used to tell me off for changing the television channel. We had to get up and press buttons in my day. And she said to me once, she said, "Don't do that. It'll break it." And I said, "Look, these buttons are for changing the channel. They won't break if you actually do the thing they decided." Yeah, and then I got a smack across the face.
See, but now that you're a parent, you know why she said that it was going to break. Because you were annoying her, and that's what we as parents say to our children. Don't do that. You're going to get hurt. Don't do that. It's going to break it. Meanwhile, nothing bad is going to happen. They're just annoying the hell out of us. So
what we've got to say is,
stop.
stop doing that. You're really annoying me.
Yeah.
You're really irritating.
Yeah, but you can't tell a child that because then they'll take that and run with it. Because, you know, as kids, as they're growing up, they learn how to start pressing buttons, literally and figuratively, pressing their parents' buttons.
Very good.
Yeah.
I can remember my kid, like, she would learn something that would upset me, and she would just be like, just slightly doing things, and I'd just be like, "Oh, you little, she just figured that out."
I just walk out of the room. I just walk out of the room.
We lived in a small apartment in Brooklyn, so there was
walk out of the room and
to
stand
go.
in the closet. Yeah, you're getting a window into my parenting. Yeah, just that done. I'm done. Thank you.
Well, if I had kids, I'd probably just do the Terry Nation route, which is I'd just jump off some large surface to escape it.
So you get an arrow shot into you.
Don't touch those buttons. That'll do me.
Fantastic.
Stay on the floor for a few hours.
Well, hopefully Colin Smith will have enough interesting titles there, and he won't be able to include them all on the cover because otherwise it'll just be like a mosaic.
He'll just take all the characters from each show and just put them in a scene
in a bath.
doing something.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Having a wash. Should we try phoning Jerry Anderson?
No, Jerry Anderson is dead, and his son.
Oh, of course, yes.
His son has not
We
replied.
should try Jamie then. Boo.
He's just not.
He's just not replying.
He's not turning up. No.
He's stopped even replying to say he can't. He's just.
I'm done. I'm leaving the room.
Yeah, he's left the room.
Right, that's it.
Well, in that case, then I suppose it's only fair. We should move close to the microphone here. Thank you for tuning in. Please send your emails to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. We love to hear from you. If you're not already, do check out our Patreon for lots of extra goodies. And so from me, Benji C, it's goodbye.
And from me, Shelley Dean, it's goodbye.
Are you capable of operating the T-Met mechanism?
Sorry. Goodbye. Pressing stop now. Ka-chunk.